Okay, let's look at the next page. This is another way to interpret remainders. So we're doing division problems just like we were yesterday and the day before, but now we're trying to figure out how should we write this remainder in terms of the type of problem we're solving. So let's take a look at this one. Let me find there it is. Okay. And Ben is a tour guide at a glass blowing studio. He can take no more than 7 people at a time on tour. So 7 is the max. If 80 people want to see the glass blowing demonstration, how many groups of 7 people will Ben show around? So that's our question. We always want to come back. Did we answer our question? So first we divide to find the quotient and the remainder just like we normally would. So here 7 into 80. 80 divided by 7. 7 being our divisor, 11 being our quotient. So our quotient is 11. And then what is our remainder? Well, we can check that by multiplying our quotient times our divisor. So 11 times 7 is 77. We subtract that from 80, and we get 3. And that's an ugly 3. But here, hopefully I'll write it better here. That's a little better. And then we put our 3 in there. So he'll take how many groups of 7? He'll take 11 groups of 7, but then there's going to be 3 people left over, right? So let's continue reading and see what we're going to do with that remainder. Ben can give tours to 7 people at a time. We already knew that. The quotient is the number of tour groups of exactly 7 people he can show. So the quotient 11 is how many tour groups he's going to take around with exactly 7. So Ben gives tours to 11 groups with 7 people in each group. If Ben gives tours to all 80 people, right, here he's given 11 tours with 7 people in each tour. That's only 77 people. So there's 3 left over. So if he gives tours to all 80 people, how many tours will he have to give? Well, he gave 11 tours and 77 people went, but these are 3 people left over. Does he just say, all right, we're going to go on 3/7 of a tour and only go on part of the tour for those 3 people? Or is he going to take those 3 people on the full tour and just have a smaller group in that tour group? Well, let's see. A tour can have no more than 7 people, but it doesn't say anything about having less than 77 people. So to show all 80 people around, Ben will have to give 1 more tour. So Ben will give not the 11 tours, because the 11 tours only covers 77 people. To get these last 3 people on a tour, he goes on 12 total tours, but that last tour will just be a small group with only 3 people in it. So Ben gives the tour to all 80 people. After he completes the tours for groups of 7 people, how many people are in his last tour? Well, we talked about that. That's our remainder. That 3 represents 3 people. So Ben's last tour will have 3 people in it. So again, in this case, like we talked about, like I mentioned with the bus, we wouldn't want to interpret this remainder of 3 as a fraction. We wouldn't want to say he would go on 11 and 3/7 of a tour, because that remainder is our people. And you wouldn't say he goes on 11 tours and then 3/7 of a tour. Okay, you would want to say he has to go on 12 tours because that remainder of 3 are 3 people. And those 3 people are still going to want to go on a tour. They paid their money to go on the tour. So we need to add 1 more tour, and it'll just be a small tour group in the last one that he goes on. Again, thank you for watching. Focus, can-do attitude, take initiative, listen.